Hello there. I know we are meeting for the first time. Actually, it is our first time here at the Spaceport America Cup. My friends and I, we are major aerospace enthusiasts and we make CANSATs, like quite a lot of them. We thought, why not rockets as well? And then we discovered the Spaceport America Cup. We are very excited to be a part of it and looking forward to a good competition this year.
Hello, we are Team Samarth from VIT Vellore, India. I'm Pranchu Grawal, the Vice Captain and Aerodynamics Head of the team. We are competing in the 10,000 feet COTS Solid Rocket Propulsion System category with our launch vehicle Agastya. Its name is derived from the epic of Ramayana. The name of our payload is Pimac. Our team is divided into three major departments, namely Mechanical, Avionics, and Management. Mechanical department is further broken into three sub-departments, namely Aerodynamics, Structures, and Propulsion. Each department and sub-department have their own leads and members. This is our maiden attempt at the competition and our team has worked incredibly hard despite the pandemic. Now, let's get started with the technical portion of the presentation.
Hello everyone, I'm Lakshman and I'm the head of propulsion at Team Samarth. Now let's look at the propulsion subsystem. What started as a bunch of people making rocket candy motors for fun without knowing how or why they work the way they did has evolved into the department of propulsion. With little to no specialized resources due to the novelty of a student rocket team in the university, we had a challenging task at hand. In this past year, we haven't just learned, we have also come up with our very own interpretations of better rocket propulsion systems. Since this is our first year at the tournament, we have opted for a COTS solid rocket motor to gain experience and come back in the subsequent years with ever more interesting ideas. The vehicle's propulsion system is an M-class P-type solid rocket motor manufactured by AMW. A high thrust motor is chosen to achieve a straight and a stable flight with a target altitude of 10,000 feet. Furthermore, an initial thrust of about 3,000 newtons ensures a high launch rail exit velocity. The initial impulse of the motor is about 8,200 newton seconds, which is found to be acceptable as per the guidelines. The flight mechanics subsystems conducted flight path simulations of the rocket during different design stages, verifying that an apogee of 10,000 feet is achieved safely. Simulations were conducted using probable launch conditions obtained using historic weather data. Worst case scenarios were assumed wherever relevant. The team used OpenRocket as the primary simulation software to precisely predict the flight profile and provide us with detailed flight data. Results show Agastya was able to attain an altitude of 10,000 feet successfully and also fulfill the competition's stability criteria for the flight.
Presenting Agastya's aerostructures, my name is Harsh Desai.
And I'm Sankar Dua. We are from the mechanical department.
And we'll be taking you across the design and manufacturing that went behind Agastya's aerostructures. This is Agastya's sectional view displaying the complex internal subsystems. The rocket is made up of carbon fiber, glass fiber, plywood, aluminium, as well as 3D printed material. Now coming on to the nose cone. The nose cone for Agastya was developed using a one-common profile with a finish ratio of 3, as it provided the least drag characteristics and attained maximum apogee amongst other profiles. Different nose cone geometries were analyzed using OpenRocket and then further studied by conducting a CFD simulation on ANSYS Fluent.
Now, the manufacturing of the nose cone was done in carbon fiber fabric with epoxy as the matrix by wet layer process. Since we haven't had enough practical experience with composite manufacturing, we decided to go with the most suitable option we studied about in our college courses, which was wet layers. Filament winding was ruled out due to the unavailability of technology. Now, coming back to the wet layer method, we needed a mold that could act as a die for the layer process. So to avoid the costs involved in making the aluminium die, we used an ingenious 3D printed mold using ABS material. The first ABS mold was given a 5 mm thickness, but the curing process in wet layers is highly exothermic, and this caused the first ABS mold to deform. So we then printed a 10 mm thick mold so that the ABS material could withstand the thermal stresses involved and could give us the exact profile for the nose cone.
Now coming on to the body of the rocket, it is made up of 2 carbon fiber tubes and a glass fiber tube, all joined by couplers. The 3 sections of the rocket would be recovery, avionics, and propulsion from top to bottom. The tube joining the nose cone is the upper fairing. This contains the main parachute of the rocket and was manufactured in carbon fiber. The second tube consists of the avionics bay and payload. This section is responsible for the transmission of telemetry and to facilitate that, the second tube was manufactured in glass fiber. The last section, which is the motor bay, consists of the parachute, the motor of the rocket, and contains slots for the addition of fins. Being the longest body tube and consisting of the motor of the rocket, it has to be structurally sound to withstand the stresses involved, and hence it was manufactured in carbon fiber.
Now, the couplers to join these tubes were made out of glass fiber, and the length was chosen to be double the radius of the fairing to avoid buckling. While manufacturing the couplers, we learned that the given tolerances weren't enough, and hence it had to be sanded down later. All these components comprising the rocket body, namely the tubes and couplers, were manufactured on aluminium mandrels using wet layers due to its simplicity and cost effectiveness. Now, to help transfer the major loads on the airframe, namely engine thrust and recovery deployment, Agastya consists of bulkheads. Now, these bulkheads should have a high strength to weight ratio and mustn't be affected by these thermal stresses involved. The bulkheads used are 0.6 inches in thickness and made up of aluminium. Threaded rods are connected through each of the bulkheads along with the avionics and payload to help with the structure to withstand the ejection load.
Now, coming on to the fins, to determine the design of the fin module, emphasis was made on two primary design parameters. First, an efficient planform geometry, and second, a uniform cross-sectional profile. The fin design was optimized to provide stability throughout the flight, making the rocket reach maximum apogee. The first step was to study different technical reports published by the winning teams to have a broader perspective towards choosing the best possible design. Open Rocket was used to analyze and compare different design configurations.
So the current rocket is equipped with 4 fins equally spaced around the airframe, which are mounted onto the lower fairing, along the motor tube and through slits in the airframe. A high stiffness fin is required to withstand the flutter that takes place at the velocities in which the rocket would travel. Carbon fiber was hence considered appropriate as it gives high tensile modulus and is lightweight. So the method of manufacturing was wet layers followed by high force compression. The carbon fiber fabric was first laid up using epoxy as a matrix in a 4 mm thick plate, which was then compressed to a force of 10 metric tons for 8 hours to help the resin cure. This plate was cut using a water jet cutter into the desired profile of the fin. So now these water cut fins were inserted into the slits of the body tube onto the sintering ring and then bonded with epoxy. We added 2 more wet layers of carbon fiber along the contact edges to maintain structural integrity.
Hey, I'm Ishan.
And I'm Pradyumna. We are from the avionics department.
So our payload is a pitch measurement and control unit, which we call PIMAC. A rocket is prone to disturbance and turbulence. The purpose of PIMAC is to measure the rocket's pitch using an inertial measurement unit as it ascends and make corrections to a custom gimbal that we've designed based on a predefined trajectory that we set. The purpose of the gimbal is to demonstrate how the corrections would have been made if the rocket's nozzle would have been armed with this gimbal system. However, currently the gimbal is placed inside the payload structure and does not interfere with the actual rocket's flight. The payload structure consists of an optimized dual-axis gimbal and the supporting electronics. The gimbal is controlled using 2 servo motors capable of 360-degree rotation, providing complete rotation across 2 axes. The supporting electronics includes a microcontroller, an IMU sensor, and a battery to power them up.
The IMU sensor selected is BNO080, whose gyroscope provides pitch values of the rocket. A PID controller is designed which is being implemented using Raspberry Pi Pico. The block diagram in this slide shows the closed-loop control system that is being implemented. The predefined pitch value is passed as command to the PID controller, which will control the actuators. The system's response to the controller output as measured from the IMU sensor is fed back to the controller, so that if any deviations are observed due to disturbances in flight, necessary corrections are then made. The PID algorithm has been designed considering the rigid body dynamics of the rocket according to the transfer function given in the slide. Time slice approach has been used where the short period dynamics of the rocket is considered. The PID gain parameters were tuned based on step and ramp response of the system, and various simulation outputs were analyzed to get a stable system.
Hi, this is Pratna.
Hi, this is Deval, and we are from the avionics department, and we will be presenting the avionics subsystem.
Our rocket avionics subsystem consists of two recovery systems, the parachute deployment system and the GPS system. The parachute deployment system consists of a dual deployment altimeter system that consists of two commercial off-the-shelf altimeters. The featherweight Raven 4 altimeter is used as a primary altimeter, and the MissileWorks RRC-3 altimeter is used as a secondary altimeter. Features of both the altimeters are shown in this slide. Moving on to the next slide. The primary system is programmed to deploy the drogue parachute at the apogee and the main parachute at the altitude of 1,500 feet. Moving on to the next slide. While the secondary system is programmed to deploy the drogue after a set delay of a few seconds after reaching the apogee and the main parachute after a set delay of a few seconds after reaching the 1,500 feet. Moving on to the next slide. A CO2-based ejection mechanism is used as a release mechanism for the parachute at the programmed altitudes. Both the primary and the secondary altimeters control two igniters each through the pilot channels. Two 9-volt batteries are used to power up these altimeters.
So the altimeters also serve the purpose of the altitude logger, which will measure the rocket altitude through the barometric pressure and atmospheric temperature data and store it. The flight data can be later plotted and analyzed on the GUI. The second recovery system consists of the featherweight GPS tracker system, which is used to acquire the location of the rocket in terms of latitude, longitude, and altitude above the ground. The ground station endpoint is handled by the user and is responsible for relaying the data to a mobile app. This will let us track the position of the rocket once it lands and retrieve it. A 3.7-volt lithium-ion battery is used to power up the GPS.
Now on to the drift distance estimation. For determining the drift distance, OpenRocket was used to simulate the worst-case scenario at the launch site, when the average wind speed could go up to 7.2 miles per hour with a turbulence intensity of about 10%. The results showed that Agastya will have a maximum possible lateral distance of approximately 2,860 feet east of the launch, but only lands 1,296 feet from the launch site. This distance is well within the regular operational range of the launch control system, thus aiding to a successful recovery of a rocket. Agastya employs a typical dual deployment recovery system. It will carry two parachutes, drogue and the main parachute. The drogue parachute will be deployed at the apogee to initially reduce the rocket's descent velocity so as to accommodate the deployment of the main parachute at an altitude of around 1,500 feet. Now on to the designing of the parachutes. Both the parachutes are elliptical in shape that produces coefficient of drag equivalent to 1.5. The drogue and the main parachutes are planned to be segmented into 8 and 12 cores respectively, which would be then integrated together to form the canopy of the parachutes. Our team's prior experience in designing parachutes are at other intercollegiate designing competitions helped us accommodate an accurate methodology to develop the parachutes. Both drogue and the main parachutes have been designed with vent holes so as to ensure the stability of the rocket during recovery. The attachment point of the shock cord for the drogue parachute would be to the bulkhead of the avionics bay, while for the main parachute, it will be attached to the bulkhead at the nose cone. The mechanical attachment points for both the parachutes would consist of the eye bolt for the attachment to the bulkhead and a swivel link where they would be tied to in order to avoid the collapse of the canopy. The parachutes were designed considering they reach a quasi-steady state with the desired terminal velocities attained. The drogue parachute is 26.024 inches in projected diameter, which reduces the initial descent rate to 91 feet per second. While on the other hand, the main parachute is 103 inches in the projected diameter, which reduces the descent rate further to 23 feet per second. Thank you so much for reviewing our rocket and the hard work that we've put into building Agastya. We battled through these tough times collectively and had lots of fun in producing this for the competition. And we hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you.